what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tattle my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you.
Boxing match between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, and it was a disgrace from every single point of view. I watched it live, and although my expectations were already very low, I was deeply disappointed and in some ways disturbed by what we witnessed. It disgusted me so much that I decided to make a video of it outside of the topics of the channel. I was so disappointed by a sporting event. In this case, there was very little to do with sports. Nothing. It was just a commercial operation and a media circus, as I feared, but it was still done in an embarrassing way by practically all parties involved, and it is a disgrace for the box and immediately after the fight. I thought it doesn't make any sense to pit Mike Tyson, who is an undisputed legend but who is now almost 60 years old, against Jake Paul, who, despite being a much less experienced boxer, less than half his age, and physically is much fitter. At this point, I'm afraid that Jake's next opponents will be Donald Trump or Joe Biden. It was clearly a publicity stunt with the aim of monetizing as much as possible rather than a real match. Sportsmanship, and I think we all knew this for better or worse, but even if they created a publicity stunt, they could have made it fun and interesting, and instead it was a disaster from every point of view. And before discussing the match itself and everything that made it so pathetic, I think it is absolutely necessary to talk about whoever broadcast this show, if we want to call it that, i.e. Netflix. After having witnessed this, I think I will never be able to criticize Dawn again for his connection problems, because compared to what I saw today, Dawn seems perfect. I just can't understand how Netflix, one of the richest companies in the world, that decides to broadcast this event live worldwide and has been organizing these things for months, has not been able to manage the traffic of viewers at all. So many users are in Italy and in the United States, and I think in reality, almost everywhere they had problems watching this match with continuous buffering and various interruptions, which made the experience unbearable. The same thing happened to me. A certain computer just didn't work. Throughout the match, Mike did nothing but stand still without attacking. The thing I thought during the meeting is, who told Mike to participate? Because he was clearly not in condition for a match of this type. And the fight was more with his body than anything else.
Paul took advantage of his physique throughout the match, trying to control the situation a little throughout the 8 rounds. He never tried to raise the level of risking anything, even though he had many opportunities to do so. And he helped me, given more than anything else, the impression that he limited himself to passing the time, making the match last as long as possible by keeping the match at a boringly slow pace. And clearly, in the end, the winner was Jake Paul. The result, as far as I'm concerned, is that this match, it was a sensational breakup from start to finish. The meeting between the two girls that they had before them was 100 times more real and interesting. They really got into it, at least from what I was allowed to see, seeing as Netflix also gave them some connection problems. But going back to Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, many online, I see that they are focusing on whether the meeting was scripted or not. But honestly, I don't think that is the fundamental point. Of course, I think that in light of the pitiful spectacle that we have seen, we can all form an idea of how real it was or not. But the reality is that, in my opinion, they could have written it, but at least they could have made it funny, but they didn't do that either. I challenge anyone who watched that match live, or even anyone who watched it afterwards, to come here and tell me that they had fun, that it was exciting, that they never knew what would happen, because that's not the case. It was and boredom. Mike Tyson, he did practically nothing. It seems like he didn't even try that hard. Same thing. Jack, who did the minimum wage just to win, seemed more worried about not hurting each other rather than doing what they were actually called to do. And they will have grossed millions. This match is a disgrace, not so much because of the time I wasted watching the match. The real problem is how everything is sacrificed in the name of money. Even a legend like Mike Tyson decides to ruin his name and his sports career. Now I understand the interview he did with a little girl who asked about his legacy in this sport, and he almost annoyed replied that there is no legacy, but this is just ego. Now I realize that he answered like that because he was aware that was going to ruin everything. Then for goodness sake, it is not my intention to get too angry with Mike Tyson. And despite this drama, it remains impossible not to respect what he has done in his career. But for me, and all those born in my generation, this was the first time that we could have the opportunity to see his live match, and finding this stuff was quite sad on the positive side. Let's say that you can appreciate his courage to get into a ring at 60. I don't know how many would have done it, but beyond this there was very little positive. Even if he will probably still see this story as a victory, he will have earned tens of millions of dollars for one evening, which is money I don't think he has seen for a long time. As for Jake, he continues to sell himself as a serious boxer, but it seems clear to me that he is only interested in making numbers and money by exploiting this sport for these dramas. And for goodness sake, in this, I think it is absolutely clear to everyone how good a marketing gen is. He knows what to do and say to make himself hate and attract people's attention. But if he really wanted to be taken seriously in this sport, I think he should only face boxers, professionals working now. And I'm his age, and don't go looking for yet another opponent directly from a hospice. But then I also understand that he has no incentive to do so. He earns 100 times as much with these matches, where in fact he has nothing to lose, and will continue to do this where in fact both participants win in terms of money and visibility, and even those who lose still go home with a few more million in the bank, with which they can console themselves, and those who really lose are only sport and its credibility that comes lurking more and more. Together, to the sports fans who find themselves in front of these scenes, I honestly don't think there is any need to say anything else about this match.